Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into an exciting topic, that is how to integrate ElasticSearch into your .NET Web API to create blazing fast search functionality. You might remember in one of my previous videos, I showed you how to log issues to ElasticSearch, and that is just scratching the surface of what this powerful tool can do. Now, if you have ever thought about creating your own search function, trust me, I get it. You might think, hey, I could write SQL query or build some custom logic. And while that works for basic needs, what happens when your application needs to search across millions of records? What about fuzzy searches, relevant ranking, or filtering by multiple fields? That is where ElasticSearch shines. This isn't just about adding search. This is about taking your search experience from okay to next level. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can integrate ElasticSearch in your web API. I have a Visual Studio opening and I have a web API project created by default. And as you can see from here, when you go to solution, that is the default setup from creating a new web API. First of all, in order for us to connect this to ElasticSearch, we have to run the images of the ElasticSearch. Now, in order for us to see what is going on, we can also integrate Kibana, which is a visualizer, which is going to allow us to see what is going on. So we need to create a Docker Compose file, and we must specify the images of this. I've already prepared this Docker file at hand, so I'll just go and grab them, and we see how we can integrate it. So let's see how we can create a Docker Compose file and specify the images of our ElasticSearch and Kibana. So right click on your project and go to add new item. This item, we're going to choose a YAML file and I'll give it a name, Docker Compose. So in here, I have this Docker Compose, and with this, I think they are commented, so I can uncomment them. And that is what we need. Now you can see from here, we are having two services. That is an ElasticSearch, and we have Kibana. Aside from that, we have volume and network. The network is going to bridge them together, and the volume is where data is going to be cached in our Docker Compose or Docker Desktop application. Now, when you go to the services, you can see we are having this ElasticSearch, we have the image, and the current version that we are pulling up is 7.17.24. We have higher versions than this, but well, this is also going to work, so we want to consider using this version. So you can see from here, we have our environment, which contains the security. Since we are running on localhost, we want to set this to 4, so we do not provide any username or password. We have our port, which maps the containers from an HTTP API and also transport API, and that is the reason why we have these two ports, which maps in and out. Aside from that, that is a volume where data will be stored in our Docker Desktop application, and it has a network which the two services are going to run on. Now, that is the first service of ElasticSearch. Now, when you go to the second one, that's the Kibana, which is the visualizer. That is the UI where we can see what is going on. We have our 7.17.24. That is the same version as the ElasticSearch image. And we have the container name. We have the port, which is the port that we can access the UI from. That is the 5601. So we are mapping the in and out so we can access it outside the container. Now we have the host. That is where this ElasticSearch can communicate through. That is a 9200, and that is a port for this. And we also have the same network specified. So the two services are going to be on the same line of network, so communication can become easier for them. All right, so once you have this, the next thing I'm going to do here is to run this to download. If you don't have, or if you haven't pulled this earlier on, then this is going to pull it and run it. So all that you need to do here is to use the command of Docker Desktop. It's Docker Desktop. That is a Docker Compose app. So, but before we can do that, let's save this. Let's go to, click on this. We want to go to the root of this project. So click on Open Container Folder. And in here, we want to move this Docker Compose file. Then we go to the roots and paste it in here. And once you're done, we can go ahead and just right click and go to open in terminal. Then we can go straight and use this Docker Compose app to pull this image. So Docker Compose app. So you can see I have this image pulled already. So for you, it's going to pull them from the Docker-Hub, and after that, I'm going to create an instance and start running it. So as you can see, mine is created already and it is running. So that's the first service of Kibana. After running, we're going to have the ElasticSearch also running. Then after that, we can access the API and also access the visualizer, that is the Kibana. So let's wait for some time. Alright, so you can see that it is running here. We have our ElasticSearch service also running. Now, when you pull your browser and try to access the link, you can see from here, we have a local host of 9200. That's an API for the ElasticSearch. And you can see we have the version here as 7.17.24, right? So you know for search. So that is a ElasticSearch API. Now, when you go to the Kibana, you can see we are having it in here. So we can, let's start. That's the local host and the port is 5601. So here it's going to load for this Elastic, and we're going to have access to this. So in here, we can click on explore on my own, and we have it here. What you're going to focus here is, in my previous video, I shown you how you can log your issues to this ElasticSearch. But today, we are talking about the Elastic itself, how you can add your data here, and how you can search through this Elastic. So when you go to this, let me close this note. So that is the management. So when I click on management, and we can go to stack management, and in here we go to index management. So that is where when you decide to create an index and also add a product, that is where we can find it. That is what we want to focus today. Now, whilst we have our stack working, let's go to our Visual Studio and try to connect to this service so we can upload our data for search. Now let's install the package. So right click on dependencies and go to manage and get packages, and in there we need to install the ElasticSearch package. So from the browse tab, you can click on add of elastic.client.elasticsearch. So that is a package here. Make sure you install this package successfully. So after we have this package installed, we need to create a service, and in the service, we're going to connect to our ElasticSearch. That is our Kibana API. Kibana is a UI and ElasticSearch is an API. So we're going to connect to that, and we can upload or we can insert our product or a model in the form of records to the server for search. So let's go to our solution. Let's create a service to handle that. So we can name this as, let's say this product service. So in a reg scenario here, you don't want to upload only or add only your model, your record to the ElasticSearch without keeping it in your database. You must have it in the database and also have a copy in the ElasticSearch. You do that so that you don't rely solely on the ElasticSearch for your database. ElasticSearch is purposely for making a search. So it needs the data, and that is where you need to get it from your database and send it in there. So do not rely solely on the ElasticSearch, although it has database in it. But in this video, I believe you know how to perform CRUD operation in SQLite, SQL Server, or any database at all. So we are not going to focus much on that. We want to look at how we can upload data from our API to the ElasticSearch so we can issue or can start working with the sets. So in our service, we need to specify. So let's create constructor here first. So that is CTOR. And now in this constructor, we need to specify the address so we can connect to the ElasticSearch. So let's have it here as private read only. Now with this, we're going to say ElasticSearch client. Let's give it a name. You can say this is client. In the constructor, let's set up the URI of the client. So here we're saying that, and it has given us already. So new ElasticSearch client, and let's specify this new URI. And what is the address here? When you go to, you can search from here as what 9200, which is coming from, so we can grab this. Then let's paste it. So that's an HTTP of localhost with a port of 9200. Let's remove this. So we have our client configured successfully. The next thing I'm going to do here is we're going to create or update product in the Elasticsearch. Now create and update works in the same way. When the product goes in and it has the ID being added already, it's going to add it. If it's a new item, it's going to add as a new item. If the ID exists, it's going to update it accordingly. So let's have the first method as public. There's going to be an async task, and let's say this is index product. Let's make that async, and now this is going to take in product. So we can go ahead and create a public class of product. Maybe this product can take in name, maybe ID, price. So let's have our ID name. Let's make the ID as integer. We have name, then we have price for the product. So before we create our first create method or index method, we need an index name. Index name is like container which is going to house all the related records. So let's have it as a constant string. So this can be private string, or we can have a constant. Then in here we have our string. Let's say this is index name, and since this is product, we're going to say the index name is product. Okay, so now let's go to our method. Now we're going to create product. So this takes in product model. And in this product model, all that we're going to do here is, so we're going to have our index, and that is a response. We have our client, that's what we have created already here, and we are saying index async. We pass in the product model, and then here we're calling this index name so that it can attach to the category that we have created. So that's all that we need to do in order to push data from your web API to the ElasticSearch. Now let's have another method so we can get our product from the ElasticSearch as well. So in order to get it, we can use a simple method to handle that. So this method should return list of product. So that is get product async, and within this we can have access to the product, which says equal to, we're going to have our client that we have created. So we're going to have search. Then what are we going to search? The product. And in here we need to also specify the index. So we have the index. And now we need to specify the index name, because we need to make reference to the category that we have created, and that is where we are gathering all the products. So with this, we need to use search async. So aside from this, we can go ahead and extract all the products and return it as a list. So we can go ahead and check if the process is valid or not, okay? But we are not focusing on that. So let's return the product. So here, I think this should be response. So we know that it's a response. So return response. Then we can say response dot hint. Then in here, we can say select. Which maps to, we're going to select hint dot source. And after getting the source, let's convert to a list and I return. So that is going to get our product from the Elasticsearch. Now, aside from this, we want to handle the search itself. Now with this, we can combine all this and make it one as a powerful search. But for the sake of this, I'm going to break them into two so we can know how each of them work. So we're going to search, and each search is going to return a list of products. So let's have public. There's an async task which returns a list of products. So search. This is search product, and which takes in, let's say this is search term or query, search term. So within this search term, we can also specify this, but I want to check here, we are specifying fields that we want to search with, and that is the beauty of Elasticsearch. We are creating a client, and then from in here, you can see we specify the index, the category that where we're going to make a search to. After that, we specify our query. Now, in that query, we want to make sure the text or the search term here matches with the field of ID, matches with the field of name, and the field of price, because that is the field that we have in our model. So here we have it in here, but you can see this is string, and we are having this ID as integer. So maybe we can convert this to string. Let's see if it is possible. We can convert this to string so that we can compare the values. Also, when you have a look here, this is price, and from this it is decimal, and now here this coming in is what? String. So it means we need to convert this to decimal so we can check. But normally we can decide to exclude this, or we can say, so we have decimal dot parse, then let's specify that so we can search through that section. Okay, so now that we have this, we can check in case it isn't, we can check the response if it is valid or not. So here we can say that in case, so if this, we are negating it, dot is valid, then we want to return array. Else, what you want to do, we want to also select as what we did in here, and I return. So we can grab what we have from here and let's paste it down there. So we can see we're having the response. We're going to select the source and converting it to list, because that is what the return type is. So that is the first search, searching through fields. Now the second search that we're going to talk about here is searching using this wildcard. This wildcard means we can provide maybe a starting value, and it's going to go through that using the contain and get it. So let's also grab this. We want to grab this and come to the next line. Let's paste it. Let's change the name. So search product with wildcard, and it takes in the same string term. You can combine all this into one. Okay. but let's separate them. So we are also saying that let's grab our response, and you can see from here we are using the API of our search async. We specify the index, and that's what you can see that we have been doing. Now, aside from attaching it to the category, we want to create a query. Now we are using this wildcard, and here we are specifying the field that you want to go to. You say we are navigating to the name field. So whatever thing that is going to pass in here, make sure either it starts, or it's in the middle, or it ends. At least there should be a text starting, there should be something ending, and there should be the text itself. So we are using this wildcard to make sure that whatever thing that we're going to select, there could be a text starting, or there could be some characters ending and starting, and etc. Okay, so once you have this, all that you're going to do here is we can also do same. So we can copy this and now paste it. Now the last one that I'm going to show you is by searching with fuzzy search. Fuzzy text is normally when searching we do make mistakes. So instead of having the correct spellings, you may omit one, or you may change the position of these characters. And in this case, this ElasticSearch has the capability to actually correct some of the text for you, okay, and try to get you what you want. That is a fuzzy search. So let's see how we can also create a method to handle that. Then we're going to copy the same thing from here, and let's paste it as the same thing. So search product, or let's say fuzzy search. It takes in the same parameter. Then in that, we can also specify that in here. We are still using same API, and now here we're saying query, we specify our fuzzy, and now with this we are specifying the field. But wait, I think our index did not come, so we need to specify the index so we can know the category that we're going to be working on. We have our index, then we have our query, then there we specify our fuzzy, and within our fuzzy we specify the field that you want to make a search through. Aside from that, we want to specify the value, and that is this search term, and here we specify the number of characters that it can be automatically corrected. So we are saying end on maximum, we can make it as 2, 3, 4, 5. But well, end on maximum means we don't have any fixed number, but well, that's bad. So let's make it as maybe 2 or 3. That is okay, or 2 will be okay. Okay, so after we are done with this, we need to close this. Okay, then we need to return, so we can go ahead and grab same what we have. Since we're also going to return the list, we can select and I return it like this, which is coming from this search response. So we make sure we replace the variables as expected. Great. Okay, so now you've seen how to make trace search using this ElasticSearch. So if you are going to create it yourself, well, it's going to be a headache, isn't it? And even when your application skills, or when you have millions of records, at times it's going to be slow. But you know, when you add data to the ElasticSearch, the data resides in the database purposely for search, so it doesn't get involved in your actual database records. So all the process is going to happen in the ElasticSearch, making it fast and improving your system. Okay, so let's have a controller to handle these services. But before we can go and create it, we need to register this. So we need to add scope. So the services.add scope, and here we created our product service, and that is all. So we go ahead and create our controller to handle that. So let's choose an API and our empty one. We give it a name as usual, product controller. Okay, so in here, we're going to add, so this could be post. So that's an HTTP post. Let's say this is add product and public async task, action results, add product, which takes in the product model. Let's inject the service. So index product. So that is what we need. So this is returning, I think this is returning void, right? When you check the service, it's a task, so it returns nothing. So we can return okay. Yeah. Then we go to the next one, that is get, which is HTTP. And here we say this is get product. Which is same public async task, action results, get product, and here's an await service dot get product. Then we can return okay with the results. Okay, so we are done with that. Let's have a look with the search. Now we created 3 types of search. So there's going to be HTTP get, and then the first one is search, which takes in search term, and that is public async task, action result. This is search product, and that is a search term, and in that we're going to say there's a result await our service that we have dot, so search product passing this search term. Then let's return okay with the results. Aside from this, we can go ahead and grab this. So we have another one, that is search with wildcard, then search product, and it is the same, search product with wildcard, and we have the last one. So when you check the service, what is it? Search product. We have search product, and now we have fuzzy search. So in our controller, fuzzy search, and that is it. So when you go to the service, I think we can check it. Okay, so we have it already. Great. Now let's make sure our ElasticSearch is running. Yes, of course it is. Let's go and run the API. Oh, Helen, we have an issue here with the Swagger definition, so let's go and rectify that. We can solve that from the controller. So search term, this is fuzzy search. We should give a unique name and a wildcard. Then we have search. Maybe unless we start this again. So we have it already. Let's go and add product. Give it an ID of 1. And let's say this is about, okay, so let me say this is an HP desktop. You can pass in any amount. Then let's add in C. Okay, so when you check the response, it is 200. Let's go to our index and verify. So in case you have it here, we must see the index created. Maybe we need to load these indices. And now we have it. So you can see we have this product. So we have the storage size here is 4.2 for now, very small. So let's go and add. We have product added, and you can read info about this. Okay, so as soon as you have this index, that is the index that we created, and well, it tells you that it is working. Let's go and add another one. So we have the HP. We can talk about Dell. If you do not provide a different ID, it's going to update it. Take note. So we say this is the ID of 2 for a new product. Then let's go and add another one. Let's say we want to go for a laptop. Then we add maybe a 4th one. Okay, so let's go and get our product. So since we don't have much data, it seems like everything is normal. But when you have millions of records that you need to search, that is where ElasticSearch becomes powerful. So we have the list down here. Great, so let's go and have our search. So first of all, I'm going to search through an ID of 1, and you can see that it's going to convert a 1 to a string, and we have it. We can search the ID of 2, and we can have that in there. We can also search for, let's say, HP. And now for HP, we're having an issue here because it's going to pass that as decimal, right? And that would be wrong, right? So that's the reason why we can, if you want to search for price, then I think it should be on a separate method, so you can search for that. Else, whatever we're not going to pass in is going to pass it on, and I try to convert it into decimal, which will give you an issue. So let's comment this, and let's make it to this. So once that we have done with the commenting, we can start this again. And let's go ahead and search for the HP once more. So we are having now, right? Because I think HP is, we did not actually check for, yeah, we are still not getting it, because when you go to the source, you can see we are saying that whatever thing that we're going to pass in should match. So this keyword should match with the ID here, and should also match with this. We are passing in of HP. It doesn't match with an ID, but it does match with this. So still, it will be false. So it means as soon as you want to use should, you should be, you should make sure that what you're going to pass in through the field, the response or the return is going to be true, so that I can return it. So now we have this ID. Let's say let's make sure we have, let's make it only to this name and check this out. So let's also comment this. Let's maintain the name, and let's run it again. Okay, so let's go and search for that HP, execute. Yes, and we have this HP here. We can also search for, think, uppercase HP. Then we're also going to find it. So if you want to make a price, then you should have a separate method for price, or if you want to make for an ID or the field itself, you can make that. Else you need to change it. Instead of using should or must match, you should escape using that. All right, so let's test the next endpoint, and that is the wildcard. So here we're going to type in just P, and let's see, because we have an HP, we type in P, and you can see we have all methods or all records which have P in it. It could be starting, a character could start, and we have also a character ending, telling you that this text or this string that we're passing in here, or this character, should be in the middle. Now we can also pass in D, which should also work. So it means you don't need to necessarily type in all the characters. Just pass in a single character and you're gonna get them. Let's also see the next one. That's a fuzzy search. In here we know we're having this HP, so we type in HP. Let's try this and see what you're gonna get. So for HP, we are having all HPs. Now instead of this HP, we made mistake, and I'm passing PH. Let's see. Now have a look. You can see now we still have it. So instead of this HP, we made of PH, and we still have it. But I go to the search term, and I'll pass in PH. Let's check the results. And that is null. But when you type in HP here, you're going to get the record, isn't it? But as soon as you type in PH, you do not get the result. But when you come to the fuzzy text, where we can make mistakes and this auto-correct it, you type in PH and you're going to have this here. So you can decide to expand the number of characters. You see from here we made it as 2, so it can correct the first 2, and that is exactly what it has done. Well, if we decide to add more strings again, it won't permit us to do it. It's going to return null. But as soon as you extend the fuzzy variable, the value in there, you can go in and make sure you change that, and that is what we did in here. That is the fuzziness. I made it 2, so you can increase it to 3, 4, or you can maybe set it to auto, and which should also work. All right, so we've seen how we can integrate ElasticSearch into our web API. Now this is very useful when you have an application whereby you deal with high volume of data, and that is where user needs to make a search. So anytime that you want to search, make sure you integrate ElasticSearch to help you improve the performance of your application than creating your custom or your manual search function, which may slow your system down when the record becomes many. All right, so that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this, and hopefully stay tuned because I'm going to catch you up in the next video.